Yep.
Well, hello everyone. I said I was going to put my camera on for just a minute so you could see me. Being remote my entire time here at SNHU, I don't get to see a lot of people in person. You may have seen me at one of the academic meetings, but I just wanted to make sure I say hello. I did my hair today for the occasion and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the webcam off. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to what I have for today. If you did see me in May at one point, I think it was a couple years ago now at this point, I had presented with a couple of my colleagues, so this might look a little familiar. But I had shared my personal story of burnout because for me, it was really an eye-opening experience. You know, before I actually experienced it myself, and thank you, Sandy, I'm glad my hair looks good. Before I experienced it myself, I have to be honest, I was one of those people that thought people that talked about getting burned out or had panic attacks or things like that, I thought they were weaker people. And I'm just being honest. Not bad people, but I just thought, oh, why can't they just handle whatever life throws at them without having any problems? So I shared this story. I'm going to share it again here today, and then we'll have a little exercise at the end, a little gratitude exercise that we can work through together. That's one thing that's really helped me through my process. So this is a photo of me with my lovely family. I believe this photo was in 2014. We were on our way to the Ohio State Navy football game. It's fantastic. My husband and I both went to Ohio State. So the reason I share this picture is because even when I look at this picture and I know what was going on, you know, behind the smile, I think I look great. You know, I don't look stressed out at all. I'm there with my family, having a great time. But what I use this for is to illustrate that behind all of that, and little did I know, everything was building up and bubbling up for years and years and years. And I was about to kind of hit a wall. So this is my little collapse story, as I call it. Just some highlights of things when I went back and reflected on, okay, how did I get to this point? How did I get to the point of hitting the wall? Because again, I thought, why can't I just handle what's thrown at me? You know, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an educator, I've chosen all of this and I should be able to handle it. And when I sat down and I kind of made a list of my life and big moments, I started to kind of see like, yeah, I can see where maybe I should have asked for help. I should have looked for more support, or I should have slowed down a bit. So it kind of starts with when I got married. And I say that because you may note that is 1 month before 9/11. So I married a Marine. He had just been commissioned. Thought we were going to have this great life traveling. And a month in, everything changed for us completely. So I was a full-time middle school teacher. September 11th happened. Left my job to teach online at home so that I could be home with my kids for at least a few years. Had our first child. And if you look at those dates between the first child and the first deployment, you might also note something. My husband actually came to pick my son and myself up from the Naval Hospital on a Sunday. And he told me that he was deploying on Thursday. And I had no idea, didn't know he was working up for this, nothing. So right then and there, probably should have been a red flag. But again, pushed through. I signed up to be a military wife. This is what I signed up for. So we had a lot of moves in there. We had lots more deployments. And for those of you not familiar with the term geo-bachelor, what that means in the military, and I suppose other places, we had established a home here in North Carolina by that point after a lot of moves. My husband was going to go attend a school in Kansas City for a year, and we just decided not to go with him. It's fairly common in the military community, especially if you have kids who are in school, that the spouse might stay behind, and the spouse that leaves is a geo-bachelor. So again, when I'm looking at this list, I can kind of start to see where I was heading. I just had no idea. So Thanksgiving 2015 was the big moment of my awakening and on my journey here toward being more mindful and more aware. We were actually in Virginia with family for Thanksgiving, and I had my very first experience with anxiety or panic. I didn't have a full-blown panic attack, but I was having feelings that were very unfamiliar to me. We were at a restaurant where I'd been before, nothing stressful about that day in particular. And I found myself being anxious enough that I told my husband we had to leave. I couldn't sit in that restaurant anymore. I was scared. I'd never had those kind of feelings before. And if you have had panic or panic attack, you know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, there's really no great way to explain it other than you just need to get out of the situation. You need to move. You need to be somewhere else. You don't even know why. So we left. And that next day, we were supposed to stay with family, and we actually decided to head home. And anybody who knows anything about college football, the day we drove home was the day of the Ohio State-Michigan football game. And if you knew me, there was no way I would have missed watching that game for anything. Instead, we listened to it in the car on the way back down to North Carolina because I just knew something wasn't right. So that lasted about 3 weeks. I was freaked out. My husband was freaked out. I was not myself. A lot of laying around, a lot of him having to help more with the kids. And again, even at that point, I wasn't ready to face what was going on, to reach out for help, to look for support. I was just trying to get through day to day. So after a few weeks, I started to feel a little bit more like myself. And again, I just pushed on. I didn't take time to reflect, nothing. I'm a type A personality. It was forge ahead, take care of business. And then about a month later, I had an actual full-blown panic attack. And the easiest way to describe this one, at least for me, is I really thought I was having a heart attack. Drove myself to an urgent care, told them how I was feeling. I stayed long enough to get calmed down. They explained what it was. And that's when I really realized, okay, I need to do something. I never want to have that feeling again. As much as I didn't like the anxiety I felt back in Virginia, this panic attack was completely something different. And Alexis, same thing. Yep, they hooked me up to the EKG. I literally went to my doctor the next week, and I pretty much told him, I don't care what it takes. If it's medicine, if it's therapy, I don't care. I never want that to happen to me again. It was horrible. So I did. I went and saw my doctor and started to explore things that I could do to improve balance in my life, and not be so stressed all the time. So for me, like I said, I'm very much type A. I like to sit down, get things done, don't leave things half done, plan things far in advance, have spreadsheets for vacations, that sort of thing. But what I decided after that day and after my visit with the doctor was I really needed to focus on myself. My husband at that point, fortunately, was no longer deploying actively. He was home most of the time, which was a huge help. Kids were a little bit older. Of course, those come with other issues. At every age, there are issues. But I started to try all kinds of things just to try them and see what would work. So I went to a therapist. I did yoga. I downloaded, 50 apps on my phone for meditation and mindfulness. And the last bullet there, I think, is almost the most important one. I told my friends and family what happened. I was very open about it. The people who knew me the best, and who always looked at me as the person they could lean on, rely on, who always had it together, I felt like they deserved to know that I might not be that person all the time moving forward. I may need to say, I need help. I may need to say no to something, because that was very unusual for me. And I really needed them to understand why I was making this change in my life. It's not that I was changing as a person. I still like to plan. I still like to get things done. But I am much more mindful about when it's starting to build stress in me and I need to step back. So it's made life a lot easier, both at home and at work. So I don't know, I don't know if you guys want to take a minute, if anybody wants to share their own experience. I'm looking to see if there's any questions. I see some conversation, but not any questions. Before we get started on a little gratitude exercise I wanted to do, is there anything anybody would like to share? Barbara put in the chat about using a Fitbit with premium stats. That's awesome. You know, I think any way that you can track that you're actually making a difference can really help you find what works for you. You know, for me, yoga was great. This past year, I have not been able to go to a yoga studio, obviously, and doing it at home just isn't the same for me. I don't get that same vibe when my dog is trying to climb on me or one of my kids is yelling for me. But I have found other things that I've been able to consistently do to step away from work and from stressful situations, and that I know work for me. And I'm looking, Elise also has, you know, meds and therapy help, but turning off brain at night is still impossible. I hear you. I have always had issues falling asleep. My husband falls asleep in 3 seconds, and I'm thinking of everything that happened during that day, what's going to happen the next day. I will say I have started taking melatonin, which has really helped me a lot. I do know that there's different types and different doses. Some of them work really well for me. Some I fall asleep quickly, but then I wake up later. So melatonin has really helped with that and trying not to be on my devices too late at night. So yeah, that's really helped for me. Kayla, that's awesome that you had a good night's sleep. Tea is great. We have a whole big tea box here of different kinds of calming tea mixes to have. So I'm really glad that you tried something different. Like you said, you usually stay up, but you did some things instead. So great. Maybe, you know, that whole routine that you did last night, maybe that becomes a regular thing. Denise, the gratitude journaling is great, and that's why I brought that in today. That's one of the things that I do and that I really like. And Christina, I also have a diffuser in my bedroom for my oils, which is great. Yeah, if you want to put, I see that some people are talking about apps in the chat. If you know an app that's great and want to throw it in the chat, that might be helpful for other people, because, you know, there's so many of them out there and it's hard to pick just one. So if you know of a great app, that would be awesome in the chat. There was one other thing I saw that I was thinking of. I see another supplement, the melatonin, magnesium, 3 and 8. I also take a St. John's wort every day. And I honestly just did some online research about this one. It's supposedly a mood enhancer to, you know, kind of calm your stress. I take one of those every day, and I feel like it really does help. I see some other people taking ashwagandha. You know, and again, when I think back, you know, 10 years ago, if I was reading everything you're putting in the chat, I would have been like, who are these people and why do they need all this help to de-stress? And now I am totally on board. I'm always looking for something. Monique, 10% Happier is awesome. If you're using the app, the book is incredible. It's one of the best books I've read. So lots of awesome ideas in the chat. You know, I suggest, if you can't take it all in right now, like Layla said, this will be recorded, so maybe go back in and see what everybody has there, because I see a lot of really great things. Okay, so what I want to go ahead and make sure we have some time for today is to do some of this gratitude journaling. So this was one that I really felt silly when I started doing it, and I struggled with it because I felt like, okay, once I say I'm grateful for my family and I'm grateful for my work and I'm grateful for my friends and my health, what's left? And I didn't realize, you know, you can get a lot more specific and go a lot deeper. So I found some prompts. There are 30 of these, and I was hoping that today we could just take some time in the middle of our day for you to grab a piece of paper and or a Word doc, whatever you want to do. You can open that up and respond to some of these prompts, and we can get through however many. There's some more on this other page here I'll show you. And again, because this is recorded, you'll have access to these if you want to go back and finish them. So that's what I'd like to do with, you know, the last 10 or 15 minutes that we have. Just give you some quiet time to be able to fill out these prompts. And if a better use of your time is to continue to chat in the chat box, then by all means do that. If you have great ideas to share and things that you want to share, feel free. And if while we're doing the journaling, something comes to mind and you want to speak up, that's fine too. But I just wanted to give everybody some time to spend to answer these. So I'm going to turn my microphone off. I'm going to be monitoring the chat and I'll jump in there if I see more going on. But yeah, let's take the next 10 minutes just for ourselves to be able to answer as many prompts as we can get through here on this screen. And like I said, I'll be looking in the chat if that's a better use of the time for you. All right, so happy journey. I am going to go ahead and just move to the other page of prompts, just so that we have those if there are some people that have worked through these. So I just want to give you a warning before the screen jumps. All right, sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure that we have enough time to kind of wrap things up for today. And I have to say, every time I look at lists of gratitude prompts, I always am impressed. I don't know whose job it is to come up with these prompts for people to use, but there are some I would just never think of, like what piece of clothing or furniture I'm grateful for. I love my giant couch. Never would have thought about being grateful for that. But anyway, you can find all kinds of books at the bookstore that'll have prompts like this to use. But I did just want to take a moment to thank everybody for being here today. I'm really glad to see a lot of conversation in the chat. My hope was that if you were someone who just wanted to learn more about what might lead someone to burnout or having some issues, that this might be a little bit enlightening and give you the chance to maybe stop yourself before you get to that point. And for anybody else who, like me, did get to that point and had to really kind of face themselves and the way they were doing things, I hope it just helps you feel better about understanding there are a ton of people out there who look like they've got it all together and everything going on, who are struggling with the same sorts of things. And I hope, again, that maybe you found some more tools here or just some camaraderie to talk to each other. So, Kayla, I love my giant couch as well. So anyway, I just wanted to thank everyone again for coming. And like I said, this will be recorded. So if you want the prompts, you'll be able to get your hands on those. And with that, I will send things over to Layla. I know she wanted to share something about the next one that's coming up.
Kelly, thank you so much. I think when you share your story, and thank you, first of all, for being so vulnerable and open, but when you share your story, I think you're right. It makes people feel like, okay, this is not, I don't want to say normal, right? But this is, somebody else had this experience. And so it makes you almost comfortable, and then to hear how you were able to get through your burnout and the anxiety is super helpful, right? And I love these gratitude prompts. They're, to your point, you don't think about being thankful for your furniture, but we all should, right? Be grateful for everything and be thankful that we have this life. So I'm so thankful for all these prompts. I love that you shared them. So it's been really wonderful. And you know, thank you for also in the chat with all of the different ways to help sleep and the meditation apps. Barbara did do a session last week. We're trying to put those up. It does take a little bit. We're actually, I should tell everyone, we're creating a website thanks to Zachary Brigler. He's helping develop a website. So we will have, hopefully soon, all of the different sessions up on the site. We're just making sure we have everything. The descriptions are the same and everything. So I just want to let everybody know that. So thank you so much. And thank you all for joining us. I do have a few announcements since we have a few minutes, if that's okay with everyone. Next week we have a session with Maureen. I'm going to butcher her last name, so I want to make sure I have it correct. Maureen Moraska. She'll be doing a session on meditation and mindfulness. We have another session that's coming up after, and we had plans to possibly do a mindful month, but I think instead of doing a mindful month, what we're planning to do is do more longer mindful moments. And so starting March 18th, we'll be having some mindful moments, but there will be an hour long, and there will be a series of mindful moments. So you can get a deeper understanding of either meditations or mindfulness. The feedback we hear is that people want more like longer sessions, right? And more of like a deeper session. And so we're going to try to start doing that. We also will be opening up a session. It only has 10 spots and some are already filled, to do a session with Rewire out of Bedford. And we'll open that up. I think I'll send out the email either Thursday or Friday. But I'm so thankful for all of you and so thankful for the community. And I say this every week because I'm so thankful and I can't believe it, how amazing it is. And if anybody has any ideas, or if they want to present, always please reach out to us. And then also I keep thinking about the peaceful pauses and if we should move forward with those. And if anybody has any experience with meditation, my dream, right? And again, this is a community that hopefully everybody pulls together, but my dream is to have meditations throughout the week. If other people are open to holding those meditations. So if you're interested, again, with any of this stuff, please let me know. Again, we're doing this for everybody, so just let me know, please, okay? But thank you all so much, and happy birthday, Kayla. And Kelly, we're so thankful for you. We really appreciate you sharing your story with us and all of the gratitude tips. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Thank you all again for everything.
Thank you.